If you couldn't tell from the recent uploads on this channel, I've gotten very heavily into the genres of sludge and doom metal specifically. There's just something unique about the sound that just captivates me in a way that no other genre can really do. One band I always struggled to fully get into though was the now infamous band, Dystopia. Although popular in their scene when they were first around, Dystopia has seen a massive jump in popularity as of recent. Mostly due to TikTok and people who look like this, and this, and do shit like this, and this, becoming fans of them due to their unique mix of crust punk, grindcore, and sludge metal. Plus their emotional and extremely angry lyrics, often touching on substance abuse, environmentalism, animal rights, and racial inequality. The fanbase of Dystopia has often kept me away from them as a band and kept me in a more negative light around the band. But very recently, I started listening to them more and more and eventually started to absolutely love this sound that Dystopia created and knew I had to eventually make a video on the band. And today is that day, as we together look through the bizarre story of Dystopia. Dystopia was founded in 1991 in Orange County, California, and featured originally the lineup of Phil Martinez on drums, Dan Kaufman on vocals, Matt Perillo on guitars and backing vocals, and Todd Kissling on bass. Most of the band members were all already established members of the Orange County / larger California scene, with most of the lineup eventually leaving the bands they were originally known for to focus entirely on Dystopia. This lineup only ever ended up recording one half of a demo together, as drummer Phil Martinez ended up being replaced by Dino Samis on drums and vocals. With this lineup, Dystopia officially recorded their first ever demo, the self-titled Dystopia. Coming in at 27 minutes and 16 seconds and featuring the 7 songs at the beginning, which has a runtime of 2 minutes and 45 seconds, Slave Chains, which comes in at 2 minutes and 42 seconds, Green Destroyed, coming in at 3 minutes and 5 seconds, Broken Shell, which comes in at 3 minutes and 2 seconds, Sleep, which has a runtime of 5 minutes and 42 seconds, Ruptured Silence, which comes in at 4 minutes and 21 seconds, and Love Hate comes in at 5 minutes and 39 seconds. Dystopia's self-titled demo is absolutely incredible, and already shows the band's amazing skills with crafting some of the heaviest and most crushing music I think I've ever heard in my life. After the release of Dystopia's self-titled demo, Dystopia will become well known amongst the popular sludge trend of releasing splits with other bands, including the bands Embittered, and of course the band Grief, which we covered last on the channel, which also funnily enough featured a razor blade in the split's case. Dystopia would suffer their final lineup change when the original vocalist for Dystopia, Dan Kaufman, left the band, making Dino the drummer and main vocalist of Dystopia. And upon the change of vocalist, Dystopia would never be the same, and would forever launch themselves into infamy within the metal scene with the release of their 1994 EP, Human Equals Garbage. This EP might genuinely be the definition of a classic. Recorded in between 1994 and 1992 in both Germany after busting Todd, the bassist, out of prison, and the others being taken from the Embittered and Grief splits, featuring some of the most well-known sludge metal songs mixed with some of the most crushing riffs I've ever heard in my life. Coming in at 26 minutes and 34 seconds and featuring the 5 songs Stretch Build's Character, a mental breakdown of a song that slaps you in the face with a runtime of 5 minutes and 49 seconds, Hands That Mold, a nihilistic environmentalism-filled song which comes in at the runtime of 6 minutes and 12 seconds, Sanctity, an uncomfortable song filled with death as the band plays over samples of a TV show discussing suicide notes, which comes in at 6 minutes and 9 seconds, Ignorance of Pride, a song about how the government profits off the deaths of humans and drugs, which comes in at 3 minutes and 24 seconds, and finally, Love/Hate, a song which comes in at 5 minutes flat and should be best described by Dino himself in this 1997 interview. It's about abuse, domestic violence, how love can so easily be turned to hate, and how you sometimes hate something so much that you learn to love it. It's just about things not working out in relationships in people's heads. The song is not about sexism, we explained it. We didn't even think we need to, but we said there might be some people. The samples are a little rough, so we didn't want to make people think that we're some fucking asshole sexists. Anyway, we get this letter from a guy who says we're sexist. At the bottom, it says not sexist, but he claims it is. We thought it wasn't even worth it to write him back. I think that you can't be too literal in life. If you are, you miss out on a lot of good humor. Dystopia's Human Equals Garbage is an absolute banger of an EP, and features some of Dystopia's most well-known and loved songs. Dystopia's lyrics are often one of the most vocal points that people remember about the band. Their more political and misanthropic take on songwriting is arguably some of the most important aspects to what makes Dystopia Dystopia. The band often talked about issues that they would experience themselves, or an issue they wanted to shine a light on. Dystopia's lyrics feel more than just a political call-out though. You can feel the utter hate and disdain in Dino's voice a lot of the time, whose vocal style feels impossible to replicate due to how painful it sounds to do. Every time Dino barks out his vocals, you feel all his hate, anger, and disgust in humanity, screaming it at the top of his lungs about all the issues they felt were important enough to mention in their own lyrics. Another important discussion on what makes Dystopia unique would be their visual style. Heavily influenced by hip-hop and graffiti styles, Dystopia often blended that look with these weird collage images, which slowly became more and more absurd and bizarre as the band's life cycle went on. As of right now, Dystopia's visual image often showed photos of how cruel the human race can be, with photos of animals undergoing human testing, photos from wars, and photos of children after the events of wars or suffering abuse being some of the main recurring themes visually for Dystopia. After the release of Human Equals Garbage, Dystopia would randomly go on a European tour before ever even going on a US tour, which is just fucking crazy to me. Explaining the story behind the European tour, Dino said, "We wanted to record, and Michael from Common Cause had us record 6 songs for the LP. Then we got a conglomerate of all our stuff previous to that, and he released it on CD for us. Then he offered us a tour, and we actually got knocked on our ass because we weren't even expecting to tour. We hadn't even toured the United States. We had pretty much just written songs and then went into the studio, and then we were doing them on tour. So it was like the music was really fresh, and to go to Europe for the first time was kind of scary. After we got back from Europe, that motivated us a lot, because we saw how easy it was in Europe and how difficult it was going to be in the United States. We didn't know, we had just heard horror stories, so it actually motivated us to tour ourselves. After coming back to the US after their tour, with a newfound fanbase, Dystopia would enter the studio in January 1996, and would come back with an absolute nuclear drop of an EP, with the Backstabber EP, which we will be looking at under what most people know it under, the incredible Aftermath EP, which is now considered by most to be a full length. If you thought Dystopia was good before, just fucking wait till you get a listen of Dystopia's greatest piece of art they've ever released, with one of the most recognizable album covers in all of sludge metal, plus the already incredible songs in this massive fucking album, featuring the songs featured on the split release Dystopia did with Skaven and Suffering Luna, 2 amazing bands by the way, plus the Backstabber EP, 4 unreleased tracks recorded in Germany, and of course the rest of the Aftermath EP. The visual style of Dystopia makes an even more fucked up comeback, with the booklet for this release showing some extremely fucked up photos, featuring photos from wars, kids holding guns up to a camera, and photos of a child suffering extremely bad wounds from what appears to be abuse, which I'm not going to be showing as it's extremely fucked up and saddening to see. Which, I suppose is the point, but I'm not a cunt and won't subject you degenerates who watch this shit to it. I do want to point out one more thing about Dystopia's image before moving on to the actual music, and that is the amount of stories I come across of people buying a Dystopia CD, expecting it to be a hip-hop CD, but instead being blasted with whatever the fuck Dystopia is, which in turn drove a lot of people away, but also drove a shitload of people in, who were intrigued by this sound and chose to stick around and start listening to more heavier music. You could even say this still happens to this day, as many people consider Dystopia to be a great starter band for sludge metal. And with the now younger fanbase Dystopia has gotten due to their more accessible nature. I do think calling people who look like this a poser is incorrect though. Cringy, yes, but then again, who the fuck wasn't when they were first getting into extreme music? These are people who have never really fit in somewhere and have found something either by accident or TikTok, and finally feel they can fit in somewhere, so of course they're going to go to really cringy places. But then again, most Dystopia fans are 16, so that automatically equals that they are the most evil human beings known to man, and are all degenerate drug addicts or alcoholics. And also the SoCal scene right now is fucking cancerous. You've all seen the Drum Girl clip, so I take back everything sympathetic I said about them. Featuring some of Dystopia's greatest and most well-known songs with their 12 songs Population Birth Control, a song critiquing the Earth's overpopulation issue coming in at 5 minutes and 48 seconds, Father's Gun, a song detailing a kid finding his father's gun and killing himself with it, coming in at 2 minutes and 26 seconds, Self-Defeating Prophecy, a song discussing the cycle of self-destructive thoughts and behaviors, coming in at 5 minutes and 21 seconds, Sleep, a song about hopelessly trying to find a meaning in life, coming in at 6 minutes and 5 seconds, Socialized Death Sentence, a scathing critique of capitalism and societal systems that perpetuate wealth inequality and exploitation, coming in at 3 minutes and 9 seconds, Backstabber, an anger-fueled song about a friend who betrayed Dino, coming in at 2 minutes and 12 seconds. They Live, a song about societal control and manipulation, coming in at 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Anger Brought by Disease, a song about anger towards society as a whole and specific individuals, coming in at 2 minutes and 51 seconds. Jarhead Fertilizer, a scathing critique of the military-industrial complex and the inherent violence it perpetuates, coming in at 3 minutes and 44 seconds. Taste Your Own Medicine, a song once again talking about animal abuse, coming in at 1 minute and 50 seconds. An instrumental song coming in at 3 minutes and 12 seconds. And finally, Diary of a Battered Child, a horrifically heartbreaking song about child abuse from the perspective of the child, coming in at a whopping 30 minutes and 37 seconds long.
I hope you're proud of what you done to me! You never fucking
The Aftermath is a beautifully anger-fueled, depressing, horrible experience, and I absolutely love it with all of my heart. After releasing The Aftermath, we reach near the end of Dystopia's catalogue, as apart from a few splits and shows, Dystopia was mostly silent from the years of 1997 to 2008, only really touring. But don't take that as them being lazy and not working, as from 2004 to 2005, Dystopia would be working on what would become their true debut album, which was only released in 2008 after the band had already broken up, their self-titled masterpiece, Dystopia. A culmination of all their evolution in the cross-punk and sludge metal scenes, Dystopia's self-titled debut full-length encapsulates their bleak worldview with enhanced production and songwriting, and is arguably one of the greatest and most iconic metal releases of the late 2000s. Featuring the 8 songs Now and Forever, a song that discusses the passage of time and themes of war, power, and the cyclical nature of human suffering, coming in at 7 minutes and 44 seconds. Control All Delete, a song that critiques technological overreach and the loss of individuality in the digital age, that comes in at 1 minute and 54 seconds. My personal favourite Dystopia song of all time, Leading with an Intent to Fall, a song that explores themes of drug addiction and self-destruction, coming in at 5 minutes and 32 seconds. The Growing Minority, a song that featuring a sample of a woman explaining her dehumanizing time inside of a psychiatric ward, that comes in at 1 minute and 49 seconds. Illusion of Love, a song about the disillusionment with romantic ideals, coming in at 3 minutes and 1 seconds. Number 1 Hypocrite, a song about the critique of societal and personal hypocrisy, coming in at 4 minutes and 24 seconds. My Meds Aren't Working, a song addressing mental health struggles and the inadequacy of mental health medication. And Forever Tainted is that one TikTok song, coming in at 3 minutes and 59 seconds. And finally, Untitled, an instrumental piece that serves as the final piece of music Dystopia ever created. With that, we come to the end of Dystopia, one of the most well-known, infamous, and respected sludge metal bands to ever exist, as Dystopia officially ended in 2007, with the band members moving on to different projects. Most notably, Dino Samis, Dystopia's vocalist and drummer, continued to play in sludge metal bands, most famously becoming the vocalist of another extremely good sludge band, that being the infamous Noothgrush, who will be getting their own video at a point. Calm down, guys, I know you've been asking for it. Many bands since have tried to take their place in metal culture, but at this point, I doubt a band will ever again have such an impact on an entire genre of music, both musically and through its fan base, like Dystopia has, for better or for worse. Thank you for watching.